2, 3, 4. This is a level check. This is meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer. I will be with you pretty soon, under 3 minutes, and we'll be talking about what it looks like as we head into the new year, what a little bit of snow looks like on Friday, and what that Sunday-Monday system looks like. You've probably seen a lot of bad information on social media. I'm going to try and rectify that, although it is still too early to put accumulation amounts on, and I will show you why I think that is the case. So that'll be coming up in under 2 minutes now at 7:15. All right, everybody, it is 7:15. I'm Steve Horstmeyer, Chief Meteorologist here at Fox 19, and I was just updating some of the things on the weather computer, and this is our live 7:15 weather show. Hey, and it doesn't matter if it's New Year's Eve or New Year's Day or Christmas Day, we have a 7:15 live weather show to show you. And again, we are talking about what's going to happen this evening and overnight. And that's nothing bad. If you've got plans to go out and celebrate the new year, well, I think the weather, not nice, but certainly not icy or snowy. Friday, we might see a little bit of light snow coming our way. And then as we head into Sunday and Monday, we've got that system that undoubtedly you've heard some bad information about on social media. Right now, 39 degrees at the International Airport. Temperatures will not fall off that much more. Notice the low cloud cover. Notice the hazy kind of look. So we definitely have a little bit of precipitation coming down in spots. And you can see traffic there on 75. It's not really heavy. If you look in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, you can see I-75 there. And it's moving along pretty well, but the roads are wet. Here's another look, another camera look. This is one's looking northeastward toward Norwood. Okay, right in the foreground on the other side of the interstate is Walnut Hills, and beyond that would be Norwood. 39 degrees, that's 71 northbound. That's also McMillan coming out of Clifton on the bridge there, and you can see not a lot of traffic, but traffic is moving along well. And this is our camera at Turfway Park. We're looking directly over toward CVG to the west-northwest. And again, that temperature's measured right there over at CVG, and you can see the rain coming down, the visibility low, the cloud cover really, really low and threatening looking. But again, temperatures are warmer than freezing. We have not been in the Cincinnati area below freezing since the 23rd of December, and so that means that we have ground that's fairly warm, and so with air temperatures warmer than freezing or even just at freezing, and the surface temperatures much warmer than freezing, we've got wet roads in the forecast, not only on your way to your New Year's Eve celebration, but after that on the way home also. So wet roads, the worst you can expect. We also have a little bit of wind and the wind may buffet your car a little bit, but it's not enough wind to be a big issue. So here are the current temperatures around the tri-state. You can see that we're at 39 officially, Harrison at 37, 36 in Richmond, Batesville, Madison in the upper 30s, along with Falmouth, Lebanon, and Springboro, and Middletown. So we are going to fall off into the upper 30s, and so it's kind of a miserable, damp, chilly evening around the tri-state. And so 39 at CBG, it's 39 in Lebanon, 39 in Middletown. Look at the wind chills, all those wind chills in the low 30s. So there are a few spots with the wind chill in the 20s, like Madison and Richmond. So get ready. If you're going out, bundle up. It's damp, it's chilly, but it will not be icy, so your travel should be just fine around the tri-state. Now there's the radar that's showing you what's going on. Notice it's mostly rain. That's the green color, although there are a few spots, especially to the northwest, where there's a little bit of wet snow mixed in. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. It's going to continue to stay wet throughout the night. And once the precipitation stops, it's not going to dry out very, very quickly. So rain mixed with a little bit of wet snow, no excessive rainfall, winds gusting only to 30 miles an hour, no thunderstorms, no flooding, nothing like that, just wet roads for your evening. Now here's the forecast graphic I've put together for you. This shows the temperatures that I forecast from 8 p.m. all the way to 9 a.m. January 1. You can see we go from rain to a little bit of a mix. It stops for a while where it's cloudy, and then tomorrow morning we go into a few light flurries. But look at those air temperatures, still warmer than freezing, and then the ground temperature warmer than that. And so this particular graphic all says that what you've got coming your way is just wet roads and not a big deal as you go to or come from your holiday plans. Then that's good news. There's no doubt about that being good news. Okay, so here's what the model says for this evening and overnight. Notice it's got just a few showers and flurries around the area. It mostly dries out for the morning, and then we have some flurries that develop around the tri-state. Okay, now, you've probably seen some social media posts where people are going gaga about Sunday into Monday. And typically what happens this far out and a little bit further out is the models have trouble getting it all together. There's a lot of stuff that really depends upon really precise little calculations that really aren't that possible this far out. And so at some point a model may say 4 inches of snow. Another model then later on may say 24 inches of snow. And models bounce up and down like that for days before we get to the real event. And that's what's happening now, although we're beginning to get a little bit closer. So we really can't give you anything but an unethical wild guess about snowfall accumulations if it in fact is snow. And right now I'm thinking that it will be primarily snow. Temperatures will be cold enough that it doesn't melt as it hits. Ground temperatures after several days with some very chilly air will be cold enough for it to stick if it's snow, but it still could come down as some ice. I don't think any rain's going to be. I think it's going to be a mix of snow and ice, but it's really almost impossible to give you an idea of accumulation because, first of all, when it's just snow this far out, a lot of things change. The temperature of the atmosphere above where it's snowing, if that changes by a degree or two, that changes how dry the snow is and increases the accumulation. Okay, if it's cool, if it's warmer, it decreases the accumulation. If you end up with a mix of freezing rain or sleet and snow, that changes the accumulation figures. And none of those things are sure right now. So the best thing a responsible meteorologist can do is tell you that, hey, we've got a system coming our way. It looks like we've got a couple of cold days preceding it. That means ground temperatures will cool off. Looks like it could be snow. We can't tell you how much, but just be prepared from late Sunday into Monday for some slippery driving, for maybe delays, and for some weather difficulties. And we will bring you along as much as we can and begin to talk about snow accumulations when the models begin to look a little bit more realistic and when they begin to agree a little bit. So this one is the European model, okay? And I'm just going to run through this by hand here. The European model yesterday showed us for a good 13 to 14 hours in steady snow. Okay, so let's start. We're starting Thursday at 9:50 a.m. Okay, here comes the little Alberta Clipper right there. That's it, bringing us a little bit of light snow in the tri-state. It pushes off to the east. It comes to an end. Notice temperatures. Okay, here there is 36 on Thursday, 37, and then we begin to see temperatures fall to about freezing. So not that cold for that. So that looks like a wet snow event, and that looks like it shouldn't be that bad. Okay, now we begin to see the big system coming our way. Okay, and right there, this is a lot different than it was. Oh, I forgot. I didn't see that I was full screen. Let me back up and go over this. I apologize. I didn't mean to be blocking you. I was too involved with that. Let's start over with this Model N, now full screen. Okay, so notice the temperatures above freezing there as we head through Thursday. Here comes the Alberta Clipper. Temperatures at or above freezing. The ground's still fairly warm, so we end up with some wet snow during the day on Friday. Should not be a big deal. Temperatures then drop quite a bit behind that, and notice we have some temperatures in the teens and 20s. Then as we head on into Sunday, this is Sunday at 7:20 a.m., look at that, 18 degrees. Ground is going to be really cold, and the snowfall is beginning to come our way. Now look, it kind of dives to the south. Now this very model, at this time yesterday had this band of snow right here, right this way, more east-west, and it gave us a good 20 hours of being in the snowfall. Now it's further to the south, and it's far enough south that here's the snow band, here's the freezing rain and sleet band, or the ice band as I call it, and then down south of that is the rain band. This would be the flurry zone for this time of day, 4:30 p.m. on Sunday. Okay, now let's watch what's happened. I'll put it full screen again. And then again, this particular model shows, watch this, it shows it moving more to the north. Northern Kentucky gets the snow first, the southern parts of Ohio along the Ohio River, southeast Indiana, and then it continues to move. And now notice the temperature also below freezing by a good shot. And then it moves off to the east and it ends, but we don't have as many hours of snowfall. So if I would have given you a snowfall accumulation figure based on yesterday's model run, it would have astounded you. If I would have given you a snowfall figure based on today's run, it looks more normal, and so that's that flip-flopping. And so the key to this is, if I start throwing out numbers every single time there's a snow event, 5, 6, 7, 8 days ahead of time, the numbers are going to do this, and you're not going to know what to think. And so the meteorologist's job here is to make sure you're aware of the coming system, make sure you're aware that it will probably have some impacts on your life, but don't panic you by giving you falsely high numbers, and don't minimize it by giving you falsely low numbers. And this far out, don't give you any numbers at all, because that is really almost impossible to do. Okay, so that is that particular model. Okay, now that was the European model. Here is the model that we call the GFS. It's from the American meteorological community. Stands for Global Forecast System. And this is today's rain here. Okay, and we'll step through this. Now, yesterday, these two models were so far apart. One said snow, one said rain and ice. Okay, so let's see what this one says. Okay, now this is the snow that moves out tonight. Okay, here comes the Alberta Clipper. It has just about the same, a little bit further north, but it's got some light snow here. Temperature's about the same. Okay, and then if we go into the GFS model comes Sunday. This is 1 a.m. Monday. Okay, so this model brings this stuff in, and I'll go through it full screen here again. So at 1 a.m. Monday, it's not quite to us. So here we go. We'll back it back up. So there's the Alberta Clipper system coming through the tri-state. Here comes the next one, and this model is considerably slower, and it has the snow band much farther to the south, okay? But it also extends way up into South Dakota there in the west. And what I'm trying to show you here is the model differences in what, as meteorologists, we deal with, okay? So we put this into motion, okay, and that too eventually brings in some snow. But notice the onset of snow here isn't until 5:20 a.m. Monday morning. So according to this model, Sunday's not a big deal. Monday is a big deal, and it does bring us into snow for several hours. Okay, the snow starts, let's say it starts in most of the area. Okay, there it starts in the southwest by 5:20 a.m. By 8 a.m., almost everybody in the viewing area is getting snow, and by the time we get to about 9 p.m., it's pretty much gone. So that gives us 12 hours of snow, but now we have significant differences. Okay, the model I showed you first, the European model, brought it in Sunday evening and tapered it off Monday morning. This doesn't taper it off till Monday evening and doesn't start it until just before dawn on Monday. And so, you know, what can you say? Very, very different solutions to this. So for timing, we're still holding the late, because there are more than just these two models, and we don't have access to be able to display them all on our weather computer system. But the trend is for it to come in late in the day on Sunday, leave late in the afternoon on Monday, and mostly snow with the possibility in some spots of getting some ice. So this forecast still remains. The forecast remains. We have a big winter system. We have a lot of cold air, and we have the chance from Sunday late in the day into Monday afternoon of having some slick driving. That could be from snow, could be from snow accumulating a bit, it could be from some ice and snow mixed, some freezing rain and sleet mixed. Right now it's just too early to tell. Sounds like what we went through during the presidential election, doesn't it? Too close to call. And then temperatures behind that stay in the teens and 20s. So not only do we have enough cold air as this system comes our way to cool the ground and make the snow easier to stick, we also have air temperatures that are colder, so it won't be melting. So we're not talking about a wet, sloppy situation like we have out there tonight or the past couple of events. What we have coming our way is the possibility from some pretty slick driving, and then after the snow is ended, some refreeze issues. And again, in the cities and the interstates, the refreezing issue is not that big because they continuously treat these to keep people moving. But when you get out into the rural communities, and then there are some rural roads that people drive a lot that go like this. You know what I'm talking about. So they become really difficult to travel because there just isn't the resources in some of the rural communities to treat those roads way out in what we in the city would call the middle of nowhere, but the middle of where you live. So that's why we're saying it's very important. Now you know that there's a system coming our way. You know that Sunday into Monday could be a pain in the neck. It's just that we can't give you a forecast of snow amounts because it's just impossible to do ethically at this time. And in addition to that, and one of the things, everybody's so interested in how much snow we're going to get, but it's really not the issue. The issue is the impact it's going to have. Okay, so you could have 6 inches of snow in a winter weather situation with warm ground and air temperatures right around freezing, and it just melts and turns into sloppy slush, and it really doesn't have an impact. You can have a 1/4 inch of snow that falls and causes it to be icy and slick and awful. So it's not really how much snow falls, it's what the impact is going to be on your life, and that's why I don't feel bad about not jumping into the circus of giving you snowfall amounts. And there are a lot of people out there that are amateurs. They just don't have any idea what they're doing. They see one map on a model and, oh, my model says, and it's like, look at them all, make your decision, use your 50 years of experience, and then tell me what you think. Okay, all right, I'm done. I'm done preaching. So let's go back to, okay, let's go back. I'm trying to figure out where the heck I am. Okay, now I've got it. Okay, I'll go back in here. I'll start the program at this particular graphic, or after this particular graphic, and we'll go into the evening forecast. Okay, but we do know something's coming Sunday into Monday. All right, so the evening forecast looks like this. The sun's been down for quite some time. We're talking about temperatures dropping off, bouncing up and down. It's down to 39 now. We thought it'd still be 41 at 7 p.m., so we're off by a couple degrees, but it's going to stay within a couple of degrees of where it is throughout the night. overnight down to about 34, and you can see 38, 38, 37, 36, 34. Now we're going to, I tell you, I keep forgetting to look at this monitor and see if I'm on screens. I apologize. One more time, let me put the computer on screen and we'll go back over those forecast graphics so you can see them. All right, because believe me, I don't think that me being on camera is a very important thing in the scheme of things. Some TV people do, but I just happen to think the information is what you need the most, not a view of me. Okay, 39 right now, temperatures close to that throughout the evening hours. Overnight, dropping off to 34, and we will still see some flurries develop overnight tomorrow. Now, back to the Climate Prediction Center. Okay, they've expanded and made it colder, and there's that darkest blue you see there. That is significantly colder than normal. Notice that right here, the Fox 19 Now viewing area is in that coldest part. That's the 6th to the 10th of January. And so we are going to be stuck with fairly cold weather as we head on in to the 10th. Okay, go to the next half. That extends that. Now there's a little bit of overlap here, these forecast overlap. So this goes out to the 14th. This gets even colder. Georgia is going to be way colder than the normal one. Notice the second level line, which was right about here, is now moved north. So we're going to stay cold or colder through the 14th. So one of the things I talked about when I did the winter forecast back in December was that, hey, look, everybody's expecting a La Nina. The models are saying a La Nina. The models have not caught up to the fact that the La Nina just doesn't seem to be developing. We're way, way behind. So when I put out the forecast in November, I said, hey, if the La Nina continues to not develop, we could have a pretty nasty January, and it looks like it's going to be a pretty nasty one, at least temperature-wise. Okay, so this is the forecast through the 14th, and then this is the graphic that came out last Friday. It will be updated this Friday, and they do that every Friday. This particular graphic is updated daily by the Climate Prediction Center. The next one that's coming up is updated once a week, and it still keeps it colder than normal through the 26th. So I think we're going to pretty much finish the month of January colder than normal. And even most of the long-term models are now saying just a slight bit below normal by the beginning of February, but we're going to warm up to a little bit above normal through the month. So February, if the models are telling us the truth this time, it looks like we will have a break from this cold pattern. And besides, January is the month of the dead of winter, as they used to call it, and that's where the coldest average high and low temperatures are. And just in case you're interested, I'll look it up here. I'll go to the National Weather Service website, and I will look up the dates of the coldest high and low. I used to remember that, but I'm getting a little bit older, and it's surprising how much you forget. You're getting older. At least I still remember where to find it. Okay, so all right, normals, January normals, and the normals drop. Okay, the coldest normals, high and low, for Cincinnati are 39 and 23. So 39 and 23 starts on the 10th. Oh no, stop, I missed it. 39 and 22. Okay, so 39 for the high and 22 for the normal low starts on the 20th, and that only lasts 2 days, the 20th and the 21st. Okay, however, if you use 39 and 23 or colder, so the 9th all the way up to about the 21st. So the dead of winter is about the 17th or 18th of January. Okay, that's traditionally, climatologically, the coldest part of winter. Okay, in fact, it's very interesting that in Cincinnati, 20 below zero is a very unusually cold temperature. It doesn't happen that often, and it has only happened once outside of the month of January, and that was in December of '89 when we went to 20 below zero. And it just happens to be about the same day that I met my wife. We were both out running separately, and I ran into her, and one thing led to another, and here we are. So the dead of winter is coming up, and so typically, traditionally, climatologically, the dead of winter is 17th or 18th of the month of January, and this goes through the 26th, and so as we begin to move into February, the days are getting longer, the sun's getting higher in the sky, and we're getting that forcing to kind of force us into warmer weather, so it's harder and harder to stay colder. And in this case, the weather system that we have that's taking place right now looks like it's going to begin to lose its grip, and we should get back to about normal by the second week of February. That may change, but right now that is how it looks. And so there it is. So stays cold. Okay, now rainfall-wise, because it's colder than normal, that means we're getting cold, dry air masses from Canada. We're near to a little bit below normal precipitation-wise. The 8 to 14 day puts us quite a bit below normal precipitation-wise. So it doesn't mean cold and stormy and snowy and awful. It means cold and dry. And then it stays that way, near normal to below normal precipitation through the 26th. Okay, here's the 7-day forecast. All right, and you can see that temperatures are quite a bit below normal here, and I'll give it to you full screen once again. But overall, 34 and 38 for the low and high for Wednesday. So we only dropped to 34 overnight. And so the roads are going to kind of stay wet. They'll dry out a little bit, but they won't be frozen and icy. 38 flurries pop up during the day on Wednesday, but light ones. 25 and 36 for Thursday. That's mostly cloudy. That light snow with that Alberta clipper that I showed you comes in on Friday, a low of 23, a high of 32. Then on Saturday, I've got the Bengals on there, but I usually only do that for home games, but we know they're in Pittsburgh. Okay, a low of 17, a high of 27 here. If you happen to be going to the Bengals game, keep in mind that temperatures will be in the low 20s as the game begins, in the upper teens, probably 17 or 18 as the game ends, and wind chills will be 5 to 10 degrees colder than that. So you want to bundle up. Travel there shouldn't be a problem. The little Alberta clipper that'll bring us some light snow here on Friday, that shouldn't be enough to be a problem on your way to Pittsburgh. On the way home, though, you may encounter some of this. Now, again, if the GFS is right and the snow doesn't really get here till Monday morning, then you should be fine coming back from Pittsburgh. If the Euro is right, the European model, and it comes a little bit earlier, you may encounter some of that snow on your way home. So you might want to keep in mind that you should check the weather before you leave coming back from Pittsburgh. But it looks like a cold, cold game. Does not look like a great game for a quarterback because that hand begins to stiffen in that cold air. But if any quarterback can do it, I think Joe Burrow can. All right, so Sunday and Monday, the eyeball is there with the magnifying glass because we're keeping a close eye on that. Both of those days could become first alert weather days. Now, Sunday may not be if it gets here later like the American model is saying, but Monday looks like it probably will be. All right, so that is the 7-day forecast. Let's go to beyond the 7-day forecast, and what you're going to see here is you're going to see that it really doesn't warm up much through the middle of the month, although we do make it back into the low 30s for high temperatures. Look at all those morning lows, 10 or colder. And then again, we have some flurries or snow flurries from time to time as continual passages of cold fronts and new cold air masses. Not a lot of moisture with this kind of flow pattern, so not a lot of snow. And so that's why drier and colder than normal looks like it'll rule through the month, and we don't have much in the way of snow coming our way after this Sunday and Monday event. That too could change. Here's the 7-day plus. Temperatures drop off both on the high side and the low side. We put the normal lines on there, and it is just going to be downright cold for a while around the tri-state. All right, now let me see if we got if people are partying already or they're more interested in the weather. So I'll go over here to Facebook. Yeah, I guess I think I'm funny. All right. So let's say this. Okay, Jeff Beechler's not afraid to give his forecast for snow accumulations. Okay, Jeff Beechler said, hey, it's going to be 6 or 7 inches. He can feel it. Okay, Jeff, I'm not going to say you're going to be right, but that's your 2 cents worth, and we'll have to see what happens. Okay, and again, it's still too early to make a scientifically valid estimate of what the snowfall will be. Michelle Hutchins is sent an emoji with 2025 on it. Susan Wally says, hello, Happy New Year. Hope you're having a great night. Yeah, I'm having a good night. You know, I'm not a big New Year's partier. I mean, when I was younger, I was. But you kind of grow out of it, and it's like it hurts too much to wake up with a hangover. So you grow out of it. I'm just as happy to get out of here in time to get home, have a glass of champagne with my wife, and kiss her Happy New Year. That's to me, and then go to bed. that's what I like. Okay, but yeah, and Susan, you have a great night and Happy New Year to you too. Laura Curry, Happy New Year's 2025. She's at home in her PJs. Stay safe. Laura, you're my kind of person. That's the best place to be on a cold, nasty night. At home in your PJs, and you can welcome in the new year whatever way you want. Not on Roku. Oh, geez, that is my fault. I apologize to Roku. Okay, if you're trying to watch from Roku, it'll be a few seconds here. I apologize. I forgot to hit a button. That's my fault, so that's my bad. So that was from Karen Harney Barnett. Karen, I apologize if you're still trying to watch it on Roku. Entirely my fault. There are 2 buttons I have to hit here, and I didn't hit them, and so I apologize. Brenda Smith says not on Roku also. So Brenda, thank you for letting me know. I apologize again. Susan Wally says, no ice, please. Snow will be okay. All right. I think ice is less likely than snow, but at this far out, you just can't really tell. Ferran Sunye Vaque, if I said that correct, is watching from Spain. ¿Cómo está? What else can I say in Spain? And no es frío? It's not cold. So thank you, Farron, for that Happy New Year wish, and Happy New Year to you. And I'll tell you what, my wife and I spent one time about 3.5 weeks traveling through Spain. We went from Madrid to Barcelona, up to then down to the coast and across to Morocco, and then spent some time up in Toledo. Went way up to the north along the coast there, and it's a great country. I love Spain. So thank you for the Happy New Year wish. Okay, and Karen Harney Barnett says not on Fox 19 Live either. I think we're there now. And again, that is my bad. I apologize. Jeez, I can't believe I forgot to hit those buttons. And so I'll be going over the forecast again. So those of you that got cut out of the forecast can see it. And then Kiera, I guess it is. Baskin says, "Thank God I'm flying back to Texas Sunday morning." Well, yeah, it should be okay. So Susan Wally says, "We have a no snow curse in the winter and no rain curse in the summer." LOL. Okay. Katie Lynn Kramer says, what about Sunday? She's seeing accumulations for the morning and accumulations at night. I'm thinking that Sunday won't be anything until we get into the evening hours. Now, let me show you why here. Let me go back to the European model. We'll step through it. Okay, so, and the 2 models I have are both trending to bringing it in later and not Sunday morning. So the Katie Lynn Kramer said, what about Sunday? She's seeing some accumulations for the morning and then even more at night. All right, so many things could change here. So there is the little clipper system. Notice the time, Friday at 4 a.m. So Friday morning might be a mess for the morning commute. We may end up having to make that a first alert weather day. All right, okay, so let's, I'm getting, I have to enlarge it. This timeline is hard to drag, and then when it's really small, it's even harder. Okay, so here we go. This is the European model. 9:40 a.m. There's no snow yet into the Fox 19 Now viewing area. Right there by 10:50 a.m., maybe in our southern counties. Okay, so let me see what's okay. So what happens is this is 1:20 p.m. and right here, this is Madison, Indiana, and this is just barely touching the southern fringe of counties in the Fox 19 Now viewing area, and the white is really just light snow flakes. I don't think we see accumulating snow in the morning of Sunday, according to this model. And let me show it to you full screen. So And then watch what happens. So 1:20 p.m., we still don't have snow around here on Sunday, according to this model. And if you take a look at what happens, it stays down. It doesn't make it as far north as downtown Cincinnati until 11:40 p.m. So those of you in the southern part of southeast Indiana, southern Ohio along the river, and most of northern Kentucky could see snow before that, but I don't think it's a morning thing. I can't rule out significant snow accumulations, especially over northern Kentucky, for the evening and overnight hours. I am, tell you the truth, I am most worried, not so much about Sunday morning, I'm not worried about it at all at this point. I'm worried more about Sunday and the Monday morning. And remember, Frank Marzullo called our attention to there are only 2 people in the weather office that have school-age kids, or have kids. Only one has school-age kids, and that's Frank. And so he's really in tune with what happens with the school schedules and that. Most kids go back to school Monday morning, and I'm thinking the worst of this is coming down just as we head into Monday morning. So my thought here is that if you're parents and you have kids that go to school, especially in the southern parts of southeast Indiana, across northern Kentucky and southern Ohio, Monday morning might be an issue. This is 5:20 a.m. Monday morning. Look at all this, okay? Basically, the very light snow is about as far north as Interstate 70. And the accumulating snow on this is pretty much south of that. That pretty much covers the Fox 19 Now viewing area. So to answer the question that Katie Lynn Kramer posed, what about Sunday morning, what about night? I think night, yes. I don't think Sunday morning is an issue. Okay, so then let's take one more look at this and see where that snow goes. I'm going to give it to you full screen again. Okay, so this is 5:20 a.m. Monday. Okay, there's 8:10 a.m., so the entire morning commute. Right now I'm thinking if you've got kids that go to school, you're going to have to get ready for the fact that there might be school closings or delays. Delays never made any sense to me. Closings, are a different thing. And then by the time we get to the afternoon, it just pretty much dies out and moves off to the east. Okay, so that's one model. Okay, and that is the European. Let's go to another model here, the GFS, which covers the same time period. Okay, I'll load that. And so we just looked at the European model and looked at one model's idea. Okay, this is this evening stuff, okay, and tomorrow morning stuff. So we'll put this into motion. Here comes the Alberta Clipper. Notice this one has a little bit more snow to the north and less for us, a little warmer temperatures. So overall that means that we're in, the Alberta Clipper on Friday shouldn't be a big deal. All right, but I mean, it still could lead to some slick spots, but I don't think it's going to. Now, okay, let's go back to Sunday. So here's Sunday just after midnight. Okay, here's Sunday at 9 a.m. And look, this is a new run, and look at this. So the question about is Sunday morning going to have accumulating snow? This model says no. Now, it's a lot different than the other model I showed you, but the trend is for it to come in later on both models. So this, as of 9 a.m. Sunday, there's no snow anywhere in the tri-state on this model. Okay, and so I'm saying the evidence here points to the fact that Sunday morning should not be an issue whatsoever, and that it looks like a later issue. So, okay, so we put this back into motion, drag the timeline along a little bit, okay, and I'm going to stop it right there. Okay, now you can see there's a northwest to southeast line just making it into downtown Cincinnati and Boone, Kenton, and Campbell counties, and that's 4:10 a.m. Monday. So this model is a lot slower than the model that we looked at, the European. This is the American model. And again, the snow that's coming in 4:10 a.m. Monday, this white band right here, is really just really light stuff. The heavier snow would be down here. So I'm not worried about Sunday morning. Sunday, late afternoon into the overnight, yes, by some of the models. By this model, Sunday is not an issue. And then as we go through Monday, what you'll see happen here, you see it jumps to the north like the other one and then pushes off to the east. So by the time we get to Monday, let's back it up. Oops, right there. This is Monday at 3 p.m. It's snowing around the tri-state. Look at the temperature, 26. We've had some cold days, so Monday could be a slick day. This model also says that there could be school delays or closings. It just has a much different time frame on the snowfall. And then by 4:20 p.m. it's moving out of the area, and then as we head into the evening it improves quite a bit. Okay, so that shows you two things. One, it shows you what we're up against. And we've got all kinds of other models. We've got hybrid models and all that. These are the only ones that I can show you here on the weather system. They are working on getting the other ones on there. But so Sunday morning, the question was asked by Katie Lynn Kramer about Sunday morning. Don't think that's a problem. Right now, the evidence says no. Okay, and then at night, yep, I think it's going to be a problem. Okay, it's cold enough. We've had enough cold days that the ground is cold, so any snow that falls will stick. Air temperature stay below freezing, so the snow is not going to melt in the air on the way down. And the track and everything says that we'll probably have accumulating snow and slippery driving. How much snow? It is really, the meteorologist also we love to forecast the snow. We love to see how close we can get to the actual amount, but the actual amount always varies. However, that's not really the important thing. The important thing is the impact. Impact is primarily, in a winter event, determined by temperature and by timing, okay, and then amount, okay. So obviously, if you get a huge amount of snow, it's going to have a big impact. But a tiny amount of snow can have just as big an impact by slowing traffic down on that. And so that's what we're more interested in, is the impacts there. Okay. So that's the latest on that now. Let me go back to Facebook, see if there are any other comments. That was from Katie Lynn Kramer. Carla Lynn Connors Mollick says, no ice, please. She'll take a foot of snow, but no ice. I agree. I hate that freezing rain is the worst. Judy Dowlinghouse says, Happy New Year. Judy, Happy New Year to you. Eddie Kendall says, please, we need heavy snow. Okay, Eddie, everybody's got their own wishes, so I'm not going to criticize you for that, because I tell you what, I really like heavy snow. My son and I, one year, it was, let's see, there was the 98, 99, or 97, 98, the winter of 97, 98 El Nino. And then in that March, the March of 98, we went snowshoeing and backcountry camping, backpacking on snowshoes, basically, in Yosemite National Park, and there were spots where we were on 30 feet of snow. The snow is 30 feet deep, and that was pretty cool. So I like heavy snow, but if you have to get to work, I don't like it. Stephanie Gilden says, Happy New Year. Thank you, Stephanie. Happy New Year to you. Oops, I just hit the wrong button, and we went. Okay, then there's Darla Watson says, Happy New Year, along with Vicki Fryer, Tina Wolf. Not saying Happy New Year, she's saying she hates winter. Okay, Tina, I got you. I think a lot of people think just like you. Like Bobby Joe Lewis, she says, I hate winter, me too. Donald Weimer says he also hates ice. He got called one night to treat roads for ice. The dump truck was sliding down the hills in Loveland. Hey, and I grew up in Loveland, by the way, Donald. But we moved in 1957, and I lived there until my dad got transferred to California, and then we moved back. But I love Loveland. Love the bike trail out there. So, and thank you, Donald, for going out and keeping the roads safe. Yeah, but that ice is just, even if you have chains, sometimes it doesn't work. What else did he say here? But he did get it salted. Good for you. Good. See, that's what I mean. There are people willing to go out there and risk things so that we can have that it can work out better for us. Rick Mayhew is just clapping. Mandy Jean says, "Bring on massive amounts of snow." Okay, Mandy. Yes, Sean Perry agrees. Yes, lots of snow. And Sean Perry also says, "Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow." That didn't sound as good as Bing Crosby, but I tried. Jenna Kay, Happy New Year. Thank you, Jenna. Happy New Year to you, too. Jeff Beechler, and if you don't often watch this, Jeff Beechler is the guy that's been asking for snow since June. Says, Happy New Year, hope you have a good night. I'm laying back watching football games and eating pizza. Man, my favorite food is pizza. One of my favorite, when I was younger and single, I used to call it coffee table pizza, because you sit there, you watch TV, you go to bed, and the pizza that's left over in the morning that's been sitting there on the coffee table in front of the TV you have for breakfast. So, and then Jeff Beechler says that his party days are over a long time ago. Me too, Jeff. I don't miss them either. Donald Weimer says, scary stuff. We had a medic run, and it was snowing and nasty out, including ice. They were sliding sideways, went to put the unit in park, and it started sliding down the hill, okay? And it said, blessed we came to a safe stop. Ice is so dangerous. Yeah, and I tell you, the most dangerous kind of ice is internationally, so that everybody across the world calls it the same thing. It's called glaze. It's like a glaze on a glazed donut. And what it is freezing rain is just that. It's rain. It falls as a liquid. It hits the cold surface and as it splats and spreads out, it freezes. And that gives you that clear glaze of ice that is really, really slick, especially with temperatures. For freezing rain, temperatures typically don't fall too far. But when it hits, you still have a little water left over, and it's as slick as it can get. And cars can't stop on it. And in science terms, we say the coefficient of friction is close to zero, which means that there's no friction and you can't stop. And so, yeah, the two kinds of ice precipitation that we get, freezing rain, which falls as a liquid drop, hits the surface, splats, and as it spreads out, it freezes into that glaze of ice. That's that clear ice. And then sleet. Sleet also falls, it starts out as a snowflake, melts to a raindrop in a warm layer, and then refreezes into an ice pellet on the way down. So what we call sleet internationally in meteorological communities is called ice pellets, okay? And in Great Britain, sleet is kind of a mix of rain and snow, so it's a completely different meaning. So for us, and sleet is bad, but you have better traction in sleet because it's kind of like snow. It falls in different particles, and there is some traction, but freezing rain has no traction whatsoever. And if I can remember, I'll bring in those. I talked about them the other day. There's a brand called WXIX that you put on your shoes that helps you walk on that freezing rain stuff. Tony Vaughn says, I'll take the snow, then it can get warm, okay? Everybody likes snow, but eventually you want it to be warm again. I got it, Tony. Michelle Buchanan, hope we get nada, and hope we get nothing, okay? Linda Bickers, how much snow in Cincinnati? Linda, I'm not putting an amount on it yet because more than likely it will come up wrong at this point. Not that I'm afraid to be wrong, because I'm a meteorologist and we know what wrong's about. No matter how hard we try, sometimes it's that way. But the reason I'm not putting an amount on it is because it will just it'll go over social media, and by the time the actual event happens, it may not be that much. And I call anybody that's talking about how much snow we're going to get Sunday night into Monday now and puts a figure on it, may end up being right, but it's the blind squirrel thing. Even a blind squirrel occasionally finds a nut. So I don't want to become a blind squirrel and say, oh, look at that, I was right. And it would just be luck. It's far out. So the important thing is it's probably going to have an impact. It's probably going to be a pain in the neck. It's probably going to be snow, but could be some ice also. And we will just fine tune that as we get closer. And you're already informed. You know what's going to happen. You know that something's going to happen. It's going to be a winter situation. We will be more detailed as we get closer and closer to it. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, I just want to make sure I was still on the screen so that... Mandy Jean says, everyone needs to do the snow dance. I heart snow. I'm sure the snow dance is kind of like the rain dance too, just for snow. Jeff Beechler says to her, if I knew how to dance, I would love the snow. Hello to Amelia. Hello, Renee. Renee Terry says hello from Amelia. Jesse Riley. She says she's ready. Her dad used to walk barefoot in 80 feet of snow uphill both ways. And so did my dad, Jeannie. They must have grown up in near the same place. Beverly Ham Kirsch, Happy New Year, Steve. Thank you, Beverly. Happy New Year to you. And Renee Terry says, Happy New Year. Thanks, Renee. Same to you. Okay. Tonica Mosley said she just joined. Now, it's taken me a while to get through, so it might have been a little while ago. And she wants to know, how about 4:30 to 6 a.m. Monday morning for Cincinnati? You're scheduled for surgery. Tonica, unfortunately, I think that's probably going to be about the worst time for the snow coming down. So if you may have to cancel that, or they may cancel it if the doctor can't get there. But and we'll know more as it gets closer and closer. But right now, at this point, with what I think the worst time looks 4:30 to 6 a.m. It'd be kind of slick and hard to navigate around. Renee Terry, no snow, LOL. Okay, so Justin Day says, what time Sunday evening should we be paying attention to? I think after 4 p.m. on Sunday, the way it looks now. However, the model trends are bringing in a little bit later, so it might hold off further into the evening. But I think as we look at it right now, think about it starting 4 p.m. or later, okay? And we may have to change that. Peg Jazinski Gutzel says, bring it on. From Tom Mollinger, Happy New Year. How much snow are we talking about? We're not talking about how much yet, Tim, excuse me. We're talking about it being a slippery driving, and we'll pin down the amounts later on. Linda Berg. Linda Berg says, Happy New Year. I'm from Maine. I've been here 10 years and hate snow. You're from Maine and you hate snow? Okay, but I guess that's why you moved here. My husband is from Buffalo, where we lived for years, so you can see why I hate snow, LOL. Okay, so Maine's a beautiful state. I love Maine. My son and daughter-in-law lived up there for a while she was in school, and I've been up there a couple times for vacations. It's really nice. In Buffalo, yep, man, Snowbelt City up that way. So I guess, Linda, the snow that we get around here isn't much as far as you're concerned. Okay. Okay, Julie Bush Loneman says, I love that I maintain my statement facial hair. Well, and I'll give you the story behind it. My mother lost her shit when he got land himself in hot water for all that. Yeah, when I was at Channel 12 years ago, what happened is I used to ride my bike almost every single morning to work. My bicycle was only 10 miles from my house. And some mornings it was like wind chills were below zero and I was riding into the wind. So to keep my chin warm, I started growing this little bit of hair here. And then I kind of liked it. But we had an old school general manager at Channel 12 way back then who did not like people on TV news programs having any facial hair. So one day, and what I would do, I'd come back from vacation in the winter, the news director would walk in and look at me and I'd say, you have to say it. You have to tell me. He goes, you've got to shave. I said, okay, I'll shave. So one day when I came back from vacation like this, I decided to, and this is what I'm thinking Julie's talking about, I decided to do this. I shaved half of it. So when they came out to me, I was standing like this and I asked people, now, you send an email into my bosses and do you like it like this, which is the hairy side, or do you like it like this? And it was shaven clean. So they sent a bunch of emails to my general manager and I got in hot water for sure. So what I did was, I called him out on the air, which you shouldn't do, but it was a joke and it was only in fun. But you know what the result was? Most people said they didn't care, just do what you want, and that's what I thought too. And the bosses at the station thought, oh my gosh, we thought they'd hate it. Well, no, people just don't care. Most people I found just say, just give us good weather and or a good weather forecast and do your own thing. Matt Bruning says, I hope folks plan ahead. ODOT is rooting for anything except ice. Yeah, you know, in Indiana DOT, Kentucky DOT, and ODOT. I used to do some work for ODOT years ago when I worked with Tony Sands. And they do a lot of pre-planning on this. You've got to, you know that if we were talking about a storm coming in the 5th and the 6th way back 10 days ago, ODOT was paying attention already. And so they need to know and because the truck drivers and the people that treat your roads know that different situations call for different kinds of plans and ramping up to get that done. And so if it's going to be really deep snow, they need to make sure the plows are there. And if it's going to be ice, they've got to treat it with a different kind of substance. And so I'm sure ODOT is right on top of this. And actually, it's pretty amazing how many miles of roads they have to do that they do unless they get caught in one of those storms that just dumps and dumps on them, they do a really great job and get it done fast. However, a lot of people that watch, and Cincinnati is one of those cities where we've got a couple million people that live around the urban area, but there are a lot of people and a lot of space out there in rural areas where you can't treat the roads. And I often get comments from people that say, oh my gosh, why did they have the school closed today? And I say, well, take a drive out let's say to Lewis County and see what those roads are like out there. And some of them are narrow and all that, or you don't even have to go as far as Lewis. Go to Robertson, go any rural area around here, including Indiana and Ohio, and you'll see why rural school districts often cancel school. And my feeling is it's better to miss a day of school than injure a kid. So Barb Mulvaney says, Happy New Year. Thank you, Barb. Same with Alyssa Mays. Chris Browning says, how about Aurora, Indiana? Same thing. It'll start a little earlier in Aurora since you're southwest on the river. The farther south you go, the better chance you have of getting some ice mixed in with that. And it still looks like a late Sunday start to this. Okay. Jan Scherpenberg. Happy New Year to you, Jan. Nice to hear from you. It's been a while, so I hope everything's going well for you. Sherry Rao says, Happy New Year, and she will be happy to see the snow. So there's a lot of people that are happy to see this. Chris Browning, I think it says Browning Chris, but I'm assuming it's Chris Browning. Happy New Year to you, too. James Barnes said, hey, just be prepared for whatever comes your way. And that's kind of it. Oh, yeah, and Jody Hurst says she got moved into a new place just in time for the New Year's snow. So I'm glad you weren't trying to move during the snow, Jody, because that's a pain in the neck. Louis Waldeck Arnett says, Happy New Year. Hey, I'm sorry, Louise. Louise, there's a famous photographer who was the first person, and I think it was spelled a little differently, whose name was Charles Waldeck. But who was the first photographer to shoot pictures in Mammoth Cave in stereographs. But when I saw Waldeck, then I thought, oh yeah, that was Waldeck. Stephen Abner says, eat the yellow snow. Well, there's a musician named Frank Zappa that had a saying, watch out where the Huskies go and don't you eat the yellow snow, and we know what all that means. So, and I don't recommend eating the yellow snow. Okay, so Jody Hurst says, just catching up. Which day's worse, Sunday or Monday? It looks like Monday. I think most of what's going to happen looks like it's going to happen Sunday night into Monday morning. And some models are saying nothing at all until after midnight, Sunday into Monday. So Sunday might be, most of the day might be okay. New Richmond, Ohio. Amy Singler McGaha says, how about New Richmond and Happy New Year? So Happy New Year, Amy. And I think the same thing. And again, the farther south you are in our viewing area, the better chance you have of getting a little bit of mix. It's also a better chance of getting heavier snowfall. So I'm thinking that from Sunday evening into Monday morning, it's going to be a pretty hazardous travel the way it looks. Belinda Kane Watson, Happy New Year, Belinda. Happy New Year to Mary Burchett Leston. How about Highland County? Well, that was Mary Burchett Leston. How about Highland County? Well, Highland County is so far to the northeast, you'll get it last. Okay, so it's more than likely in Highland County, it's not going to get there until well after midnight into Monday morning. And you're far enough north that you'll probably be out of the heaviest snow band. But I still think it's going to be, I think Monday morning is going to be challenged for traveling in Highland County. And that's one of those counties. Oh my gosh, the hills in Highland County. All you got to do is ask Ethan Emery. He's a proud native of Highland County. Okay, Steve Borf says, Happy New Year, watching from Bridgetown. Hi, Steve. Thank you. Happy New Year to you. Then Jan Scherpenberg says, Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. Boy, that goes back. Yeah, only people my age and older can remember that. So that's pretty cool. And those are all the comments. Okay, so let me go over the 7-day forecast again real quick. Wow, it's 8:12 already. Man, this has been going on a long time. So, and for the people trying to watch on Roku and watching on our other platforms, I apologize for forgetting to push that button. I will try to remember to do it better. Okay, so here we go. Let me see. I'll just go over the forecast part of it. So again, remember what we're saying. We can't put an accumulation of snow on it. I mean, I don't want to put an accumulation out there and have it be way, way off, and then people think that I just did it so you would watch. And besides, a good meteorologist knows that you really just can't do that this early. However, we can talk about the impact, and that's the important part, okay? And so the impact looks to be, pretty high as we get into Monday. Okay, now. Okay, there I am. I had to move things around, so. All right, so we'll start with the 7-day forecast. For those of you that tuned in late, or for those of you that missed it because I hadn't pushed the button, and I didn't actually do that. But that's what you see when you look at downtown Cincinnati right now from our tower cam. That is kind of murky. You can see the low cloud cover out there, and that's pretty much going to continue throughout the night. Now notice it's 39, but if I look at this graphic, for those of you that may be going out this evening, look at this graphic, and you can see that it stays warmer than freezing all the way into 8 and 9 a.m. Tomorrow morning. So we go from rain to a little rain-snow mix to a couple of hours without much going on, and then the flurries tomorrow morning. And again, even if the temperature in some rural locations to the north drops to 30 or 31 or 32, it's not going to be a big issue because there's so much heat in the ground after all the warm weather we've had. The last time we bottomed out below freezing was the 23rd of December. So it's been a while and things are still pretty warm. And that's the forecast for this evening. Now if we go to the 7-day forecast, okay, the 7-day forecast looks like this. There you see it. We have New Year's Day, a low of 34, a high of 38 with a few flurries. Mostly cloudy, dry with a low of 26 and a high of 25 and a high of 36 on Thursday. On Friday, 23 and 32 with some light snow from that Alberta Clipper. Probably not enough to be an issue. 17 and 20. However, let me back up. On Friday, that depends on time of day. Notice the low Friday morning down to 23. Now, if that system comes in early in the morning, we might have some slippery driving issues Friday. Not big and widespread. Bengals Saturday, they're going to be in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, when the game begins, about 22. When the game ends, about 17. So it'll be a cold game. Shouldn't be much wind, no precipitation. But around here on Bengals Saturday, 17 and 27. And then Sunday and Monday, that rain, snow, and ice. Again, we think it's coming in late Saturday. Start over. But we think it's coming in late Sunday into Monday morning. And the worst of it is in the overnight into Monday morning. So for people that have kids that go to school, you may have to begin to make plans to take care of your kids if the school gets closed. And then the snow comes to an end Tuesday morning. All right, now your beyond the 7-day forecast looks like this. We've got cold high temperatures, cold low temperatures. Look at a number of those. How many are 10 or below? High temperatures do begin to climb back to around freezing by the time we get to the 13th and the 14th. And no big snow. Whenever you have weather this cold, you typically don't get a lot of snow because that air is coming from Canada, from the dry plains of Canada. The cold air doesn't have the energy to do a lot of evaporation, so it doesn't hold a lot of moisture. So we end up with cold, dry weather. And here's that summary graphic right here. Here are the highs, there are the lows. Look at how they compare to normal. Way below normal on both sides as we head toward the middle of the month. Okay, so that is it. Thank you for joining me. We've been doing this for more than an hour now. I hope you got the information you need. I hope you have a happy new year. I'll be back tomorrow, January 1st at 7:15, and we'll do it all again. We should have a little bit better perspective on what's going to happen with that storm system. So thank you. Have yourself a nice night, and Happy New Year.